You are sculpting. You're sculpting. Just like in a synthesizer, they're taking a pure electric signal and sculpting it into something of beauty.
What's up, YouTube? Back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to program a synth type sound for 80s synth pop music. So today we're going to be looking at the Juno 106, and I'm going to show you how to program it using Ableton's analog instrument. Now, this type of sound has been used in a lot, and I mean a lot, of songs and theme songs for television. For the younger generation, you might be familiar with Stranger Things. But it's also been used in artist work like Bruno Mars and The Weeknd. So let's dive right into it. Okay guys, so this is the track. Let's listen to it first. It's just a basic verse chorus, or intro verse chorus structure. So here we go. Anyway, that's it. It's a pretty basic 80s sounding type track, a la George Benson or Michael Jackson, if you will. Most of the synth sounds are actually made by just one stock instrument in Ableton, which is the analog instrument. And I'm gonna show you how to program the Juno sound with just analog. If I solo the group, the main riff part, and if you notice, most of the meat of the sound is coming from the filter section. If you open up a new MIDI channel and then open up analog, the first sound that you get when you open it is gonna sound just a pretty stock, terrible sounding you just get a simple triangle wave. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna turn off oscillator 2 because we only need one oscillator for this. The next thing that we're gonna do is you're gonna click on it on the instrument, and then you're gonna group it by using the command G. And we want to do this so we can use the macros. What are macros? Well, I'm gonna tell you. Now, if you open up the enclosing rack, you'll see macro 1 to macro 8, and these knobs are assignable, which means you can map certain parameters or multiple parameters to the same knob, and it can get up pretty high. The functionality that you gain is actually a lot. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over to the filter tab, and we're going to map the attack, the decay, the sustain, and the release to each one of these macros. So macro 1 is attack, macro 2 decay, macro 3 sustain, macro 4 release, and we're going to do that for both the filter section and the amplitude section. So we'll go ahead and do that now. And then we're going to rename our macros ADSR. So now what does our keyboard sound like? Still sounds pretty sterile. But at least now we have parameters to shape our sound. If you notice, if I have a short attack, the sound is more sharper. Whereas if I have a longer attack, the sound sort of fades in. Kind of sounds like a string. Whereas if I have a short attack and a short decay, kind of sounds like a B. Now this is basically the main meat of your sound. So in order to get those plucky chords, I would maybe have my parameters set like this. Now, the secret to getting the tone, and this is very integral to the sound, is a chorus effect, which gives it the stereo width. If I move my rate, it makes the sound sort of pan around your headphones or the speakers. Go over to our filter section. If I turn down the frequency knob, down the resonance. As you can see, we're already pretty close to this original sound, the beginning sound here. You can even change the octave if we want. If we have this. Here is the detune. Maybe an octave down. Then slow this. There, it's not so boring anymore. Let's just copy the MIDI. If we go over to our session view, we can add some reverb. Maybe some EQ. And then maybe some compression to finish it off. So let's hear how that sounds in context. Three, four. It actually sounds more fuller. Okay, so you get the idea. Now all these other elements were programmed with basically the same parameters. So you can see just one oscillator, and then all the macros are programmed, and then I have a chorus and that's it. The only thing that I change is the ADSR, which gives me different characteristics. So like I think this one is definitely a pad. Reminder to name each of your tracks so you don't forget. Although I should practice what I preach, because yeah, I just renamed it. Yeah, so we just have a basic pad here, just posting up, nothing too special. The bass I made using Ableton's Wavetable device, and to be honest, I haven't really used this before because I was using different VSTs like Native Instruments massive, but then once I delved into this, I was like, this is actually pretty powerful because it has all the different wave shapes. Like here we have modern sweep, etc., etc. It has all the different waveforms of different synths. So you can go into each category, and then each one has its own subcategory. So you have a lot of options for tone shaping. Basically what this knob does is it changes the waveform that you're using. This is how my bass sounds like. And if you can hear as I go through the different choices of waves, the sound changes. I like mine right there. It sounds like a plucky synth bass with a short attack, relatively short decay, and a relatively short release. And what it sounds like in context. So yeah, that's the bass part. Next we move on to the Lindrum. It's just a fill. As made famous by the song Juicy by Mtume. Mtume, I think that's how you pronounce it. And then the only other part for the Lindrum is the chorus or hook part. And that's how that goes. Not much going on in this. I mean, it's pretty basic as basic can be, but it fits in the context of the whole thing. Other elements that are going on in this hook part, I have a slap bass sound and some guitar, or two guitars, hard pan left and right. So I got these sounds from my Motif, Yamaha Motif keyboard. Pretty good. I mean, nothing spectacular, but it's a Swiss Army knife. So these are how those parts go. And really, that's it. Not much going on there with that. Next. Yeah, so that's that. If you couldn't already tell, these parts are pretty minimalistic, but within the context of the whole thing, they contribute to the overall picture, I should say. The last guitar part. So that's it. Next one is this Juno, like it's a glissando into these accents. I have my frequency up at like 10K because it's really bright, and some panning. That's it basically. I use the same patch, but within the context of everything. It works, and it kind of catches the listener by surprise. This one I have a clap with a lot of reverb on it, pretty standard. Okay, this C78 was made famous. I think it was made famous by Phil Collins because it was used in the song In the Air Tonight. And these are the drum beats that you hear at the very beginning of the song before the big epic fill. Yeah, the epic fill by Phil Collins. The duk 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 da. But this is the main like drum beat if you listen to it solo. Yeah, that's that. And then I have some different patterns just overdubbed. And if you want to know how to overdub stuff on one track, you go up to options, and then there's an option here right at the very bottom. It says MIDI arrangement overdub, and this will allow you to record parts over the same track. I think this is the last pattern, which is just some cymbals. Basically the same as before with all the cymbals and stuff, and then I added a clave, and then I got rid of the kick and snare to make way for the kick and snare of the Lin drum. Actually, if we listen to just the Lin drum in the C78, with the clap, I think I got everything. Standard riser. I actually made the filter sweep by resampling the whole thing. The way I did that is you just open up a new audio track. This is Ableton's bus feature. Without having to set up an aux track and then sending all the tracks to there, you just open up an audio track and then go into the drop down menu, and then there's an option here that says resampling, and it will automatically bus anything that you have selected. So you can solo one track that you have and it'll render it to audio. So yeah, I bust everything to this track, and then I put a filter on that one to transition to the chorus. If you actually listen to it just by itself, it's builds up tension before it drops into the hook. The lesson to take away from all this would probably say is that keep your elements simple, but then everything should have its own place within the song. All these individual parts are really simple, but once they're added up, it contributes to the overall picture of the song, I should say. Because if someone were to get this and then there were more elements than this, then there would be no more space for them to sing on. So that's also one thing to keep in mind. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more content like this. Thanks.